Hello and welcome to this Miss HubNut video. This is a video that almost didn't happen because this has been the video that caused the most controversy in the HubNut household, because this is our secret place that we love to come to and Mr. HubNut wasn't too keen to share. But it's such a wonderful place with so much history and so on that we had to share with you, and the pizza is extremely good. So where are we? Well, you might not recognise it from this angle, but this is Llangrannog. Llangrannog, I assume the etymology comes from the Church of St Cranogwen, because this was the first building built in Llangrannog. It dates from the 6th century. Apparently originally it was a wood building, but the foundations remain the same. And this is the Church of St Cranogwen. St Cranogwen I'll expand on a little bit because we're going to go and visit him up on the hill. But he established this church. I won't tell you the story of how it came about, but I will tell you that defensively where we are is an extremely good place to build a settlement, because you are close to the sea, so you have the advantage of being able to see fair fish and so on, but you're invisible to anybody invading from the coastline. The other reason that we've started this story here is a lady called Sarah Rees, or Cranogwen as she's also known, and she truly was an exceptional woman. And I tell you what is beautiful is the fact that she passed away in 1916, but as you can see, people obviously pay pilgrimage to her grave because she truly was fantastic, and I will tell you more about her as well in a moment. So here I am with a statue of Sarah Jane Rees, or Cranogwen. I'll get on to the nickname Cranogwen in a moment, which was unveiled in Llangrannog earlier this year. She was, as I mentioned, a phenomenal woman. Now, most of Llangrannog were seafaring, but the women, of course, went to school to learn how to cook and sew and so on. Her father was a captain. She wanted to go to sea with her father, so that's what she did. She went to sea with her father. She learnt about sailing, she learnt about navigation and so on. In fact, she actually went away to be educated in navigating and then came home to teach others how to navigate at sea. She created her own schools where she taught people how to navigate at sea because she was so focused on people bettering themselves. She then turned her hand, as she was incredibly talented, she turned her hand to writing. And I mentioned the Urdd and the Eisteddfod, and there are some really important poetry prizes in the Eisteddfod, of which she won one against very famous male writers of the time. And that's where the Cranogwen comes into play. If you write poetry in the Eisteddfod, you have to give yourself a nickname. So she gave herself Cranogwen, white one from Cranog, which is Llangrannog. Then, once she'd done that, she was a talented preacher, she was a talented orator, she fought for people's rights, she taught to educate people. She was utterly astounding woman. Her personal life, she lived with a couple of female companions, the first of whom was Fanny, who sadly passed away in her arms. And I think it took her an extremely long time to get over the loss of Fanny. And then she had another partner. I'm very sorry, the name escapes me. We will pop it on the video. And she was with her until the end of her life. She lived 77 years. She travelled across the world. And I'm sorry, Cranogwen, you won't like me for this one, but she was huge in the temperance movement. She established lots of temperance societies and so on all over the place. Obviously, I like to partake of a little bit of wine, so I'm very, very sorry, Cranogwen. But yes, she was involved in the temperance movement, and even after her death in 1916, she still does good because there was a temperance home established in her name. And of course, here she is today in all her beauty. We are here at Gwersyll yr Urdd, Llangrannog. Gwersyll, quite a long word, means camp. And the Urdd is a Welsh youth organisation. I've mentioned them before. They've been running for over 100 years and they are all about maintaining the Welsh culture. They have sports days, they have Eisteddfods. I'm sure that I've expanded on those in previous videos. But the other thing that they did was they have several camps across Wales. It's been here since 1932. The land was given by a J.M. Howell to the organisation. In the beginning, obviously, it was a little bit basic. You had a wooden shack for the cafeteria, and then you had lots of tents. But over time it's developed massively. So it's got a dry ski slope, it's got a swimming pool, I believe it's got a climbing wall. They were looking to have a zip line, I'm not sure if they have got that. And in the olden days, obviously the accommodation was a little bit basic, but they've recently had an investment and got a brand new block that will house several hundred people with ensuite accommodation. I could not have imagined such things when I went to the Earth when I was younger. So there's lots and lots of activities, and the aside to that is that it's all about learning Welsh. I remember when I was younger and I went to the Earth camp, we had a delicate balance of Welsh lessons and activities. It was kind of like the carrot and the stick scenario. This is a fantastic place to come because now, as instead of it being a school trip, which if you went to school in Wales, you probably came to an Earth camp at some point, you can come as a family and you can book yourselves in for a week or a weekend. And as I say, loads and loads of activities. If you're local and you want to have a birthday party, you can take the kids skiing, tobogganing, swimming, etc. It's a brilliant, brilliant place to come. And it's a very well-established organisation that is protecting the Welsh language and Welsh culture. Now this is the car park on the front, and there have historically been problems with this car park because people have struggled to pay because there's no phone signal, there is no Wi-Fi down here. Things have been made better, there is Wi-Fi on the machine, so that means connectivity shouldn't be such an issue. But there is currently a case going through the courts because the signage, it's now bilingual. That was the question mark, is that it was only in English and the gentleman didn't speak English, he spoke Welsh, and so he didn't understand that how he had to pay and so on and so forth. So yes, this is the paid car park and the beach is there. But yes, just be a little cautious in making sure that you do pay and quickly. Or you can park here for free. We're about half a mile up the road. I mention up because it's very much up. If you have any mobility issues, you may well struggle because it is quite a steep walk down and it's an even steeper coming up. However, well done Llangrannog. Look, a park and ride from the car park down to the front, and it's only £1 per person, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Really, really well done Llangrannog. And actually, it's a lovely walk to the beach. So here we have, overlooking Llangrannog, one of the communities that he established, a statue of Saint Cranogwen. Now if you look online, you'll see that his name has changed quite a lot because he features in Welsh, Cornish and Breton mythology. So he features as Crannog and he features as Carantoc. He's also thought to have established a church in Cornwall to it's called Saint Carantoc. But it's the same person, Saint Cranogwen. So who was he? Saint Cranogwen was born in the 5th century and he was born to nobility, the King and Queen of Cranogwen, no less. But whether it was a calling or whether he just didn't want to be king, he left and he started to live a bit of a hermit's life. It's said that he hid out in a cave somewhere above where the church is established and became a very, very religious man. Now, I mentioned the church has a very good defensive position because you can't see it from the sea. But actually what happened, because this is Wales, is that when St Cranogwen arrived in Llangrannog, or it wasn't Llangrannog then, when he arrived here, he started to light a fire, and the little bits of wood that he was using to light the fire were picked up by a dove, and he felt that he should follow the dove. And he followed the dove and it showed him where to establish his church. Oh, and also, just casually, apparently he slayed a dragon at some point. Standard Wales. As the tide's in, we're going to give you a bit of a bird's eye view of Llangrannog. So just beyond the point there, you can see a second beach, and that's Kilborth. It's a beautiful sandy little beach, but you do have to be careful. If you see this rocky outcrop here and the mainland, you can walk through there when the tide's out, but it comes in ever so quick. Now there is another route, but you see that ginormous hill over there? That would be your route. It's important to note that that route is also part of the All Wales Coast Path. So you join it with the steps just there. You can walk along to Cwmtyddy, you can walk along to Newquay, Aberaeron, you can walk as far as you like. And if you turn around just over there, you can head towards Aberporth and so on. I will say, very challenging walks, as you can probably imagine. Something else to mention, that rocky outcrop there is called Carreg. This one just here, the one that looks like tooth. There we go, doing a zoom in on Carreg. Now, that is I want to say, Orciforian rock formation. If I'm wrong, we will just pop it up in the notes, which I'm not a geologist, I'm not going to pretend I am, but I think it relates to the layers of plankton and so on that are built up into that formation. However, that's not what happened. Of course it's not what happened. We love giants in Wales as well. We mentioned Bendigeidfran when we were up in Harlech, and that is the tooth of the giant bicker. Apparently the giant bicker was in the area and had a toothache, and the tooth came out and it fell into the sea, and there it's lain ever since. I love doing these videos because I love these stories and I believe every single word of it, but Mr. HubNut always gets this pained and puzzled expression on his face. Anyway, so we'll look at the village itself. This is actually a really good viewpoint. Bit of a steep walk up here, but it's absolutely worth it. Views are stunning. So over there with the pink shades, you have Cafe Patio. An interesting linguistic note, cafe, C-A-F-E in English, in Welsh is C-A-F-F-I, because a double F is a soft sound. It's the F sound, and a single F is a V. So cafe has double F for the soft sound. They do beautiful ice cream. We have partaken numerous times, and cake and so on. I'm not sure if we're going to get cake in this video. I appreciate that's going to be a shock to people, but I will try and get some cake. I will try my best. So Cafe Patio. Then you've got the Beach Hut, which has a fish and chip shop and also a cafe restaurant as well. And then you have the Pentre, which is a pub with, I think, possibly the best views ever. They cut in that big portrait window, and you can sit in the window and just look at the sea, or they put seating out just on the front here. And that pub is a very traditional pub with lots of little nooks and crannies that you can sit in. They do food, they do lots of seafood and so on. Absolutely worth a visit. And the other interesting thing we found when we were in the Pentre is that they have a list of the shipwrecks in and around Llangrannog. I've mentioned this was a seafaring town. There were actually boats, I think it was 24 boats built on the beach because people fished for the herring. They also brought in coal dust. Sadly, it's died out and it's very much a tourist town now. But as you can see, it's thriving. The beach is a blue flag beach, and as you can see, it's manned by RNLI lifeguards. So the water quality is very, very good. And it's cold, but it's lovely. Of course, being such a beautiful, beautiful place, it has claims to inspiring the creativity of certain people. So the pub just over there, which I think unfortunately is closed at the moment, is the Ship in Llangrannog. And apparently a certain Dylan Thomas used to frequent the Ship, as well as Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas has loads of connections around here. As well as Dylan Thomas, apparently Edward Elgar visited and was inspired to write some of his best pieces by Llangrannog. I think the reason that Cranogwen resounds with me is because you may not know that I am a huge advocate of women's rights, and I'm part of the Women Drivers Social Club because I'm part of an industry that is not particularly women focused, and we're trying to change that. We're a small group, but we're trying very hard to change things. And I just can't imagine what it must have been like being a woman in the late 19th, early 20th century, being so forthright and strong and determined to do exactly what you wanted in life. What I didn't mention is that she became the editor of Fyddonnes, which was a magazine aimed at women, talking about women's issues, but had never been edited by a woman before. So that was interesting to me, that she became the first female editor of that magazine. And just a small aside, I've noticed that the statue of Cranogwen has a dog with her, and I have not found anything about the dog. And I'm a dog lover myself, so I'd love to know, oh my goodness, if she was a dog lover as well as everything else, she goes up even higher in my estimation. But what a phenomenal woman. Here it is, possibly our favourite part of Llangrannog, and the secret that Mr. HubNut really wanted to keep, because, well, if you've been to Llangrannog, you'll know about this. But this is tavella tan pizza. Tavell meaning slice and tan meaning fire, because it's wood-fired pizza. Actually, I'm not sure it's wood-fired, but there's definitely fire involved in the creation of this pizza. We've just had our pizza. We've got leftovers. We had the Tavell Caesar, which is sort of a rethinking of the Caesar salad. So it had sort of Caesar dressing as the base, and then you had rocket on it, and bacon and chicken, and a bit more Caesar dressing just to zhuzh it up a little bit, and parmesan. Absolutely glorious. That's their new pizza, and it's delicious. And then we had Ian's absolute favourite of all time, the morch mawr, the big pig, which is just basically covered in meat. There's meatballs, there's bacon. What else is there on there? There's barbecue sauce.
I can't even remember.
Their pizza sauce is absolutely delicious. And what you have to do is, from 12 till 3, they serve in the cafe just here, and you can just walk in. But they stop serving between 3 and 4, and then from 4 onwards, it is they would suggest online ordering for the pizza. So we've had times where we've gone to order and then found out there's not a slot for the next week or so. But I tell you what, the team are so accommodating here. They're absolutely lovely. It's peak season right now, and they're taking random walk-ins, which is impressive. And there was once, as I say, we called and there wasn't a slot for another week. And I called and said, oh, I can't seem to get a slot. They said, when were you looking to eat? I said, this evening. And they said, we'll get you in. And they're always that friendly and that lovely. And we've just gone in really calm and relaxed. We've had our pizzas. They let us pick up our drinks and then settle up for the drinks afterwards. Yeah, this place is amazing. The food is absolutely delicious. Everything is just delicious. Full disclosure here, the last thing we actually want to do is eat cake, but we know that an essential part of a Miss HubNut video is cake. So we did visit Cafe Patio earlier, just here, and we bought some cake. So Mr. HubNut, what have you got?
I have got the Millionaire Shortbread. I'm a bit of I have a weakness for caramel. Tuck straight in. That's actually really soft.
Yeah? See, that's the thing, is sometimes you get them with a hard base and it's not so nice. So that's good. And I got the rhubarb and cherry slice. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. I'll pin it with the fork because it's quite breezy down here. We thought we'd come and eat cake on the beach because why not? That is lovely. That is moist. It's got loads of fruit in it, loads of cherry, loads of rhubarb.
They do excellent milkshakes as well.
They do. And the other thing I noticed, they do homemade donuts, homemade jam donuts. And they do a homemade jam donut filled with ice cream.
Oi. Wow.
Something for another day, I feel.
Yeah.
But delicious. Everything's delicious today.
Everything here is delicious.
Delectable, divine, etc. So it felt appropriate talking about St. Cranogwen, who is way up above me right now, and his cave, to finish this in a cave. This is not the cave. There are several caves on this beach. None of which we've explored because we are scaredy cats, I'm going to admit. So yeah, it's a beautiful place to come to. It's a small village. It's just, I tell you what is lovely is the beach has toilets, it has showers, and it also has a water bottle filling station, which is great, and a 2-minute beach clean station as well. I'd just like to give a big shout out to the gentleman driving the park and ride bus. He was up and down that hill every 10-15 minutes. Big smile on his face, lovely friendly chatter to everybody. So well done him, because that's not a pleasant road necessarily to drive down. So yes, come to Llangrannog, home of Cranogwen, St. Cranogwen, beautiful beaches, lovely walks. The surf is really good today, actually. We've been watching people whizzing in. And delectable food, Tavella Tan being our #1 place to go, almost of all time. So thank you for joining me in this Miss HubNut video. Hopefully we're not going to get stuck in here because those waves look a little fierce. But thank you very much for joining us in this video, and hopefully we'll see you in another video soon. Thank you. Bye everybody. Bye. Isn't it lovely?